Welcome. Well, welcome back. We're really excited for the second installment as we unpack the deuterocanonical period, or what's the other term?
The intertestamental period.
Intertestamental period.
Yes.
So we talked about the synagogue and the temple, and we don't know that these are in any kind of right or logical order, but they're kind of distinct things. And so what are we going to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about Roman rule and Hellenism, which is really significant to the cultural context of where we're coming to in Matthew.
Yeah. So again, not a scholar, and I do way better with ideas. As soon as you have to start putting numbers in it, my mind just So I feel really good in laying this stuff out. I might tell you 332 BC. You're going to want to verify that. I promise you right now.
Fact check.
If I ever drop a date like that, just in the middle of conversation, be sure it's probably wrong. I don't know the date numbers, but I think we have a pretty good understanding of how the movement happens, which is what we want to convey to you.
Yep. So when does Rome come in?
I don't know. So Rome actually doesn't become a part of it yet. We need to start with Hellenism's first push in comes when Greece conquers Persia. And I believe that's around 332 BC. It's sometime in the early 300s. Alexander the Great, who is from Macedonia, the Macedon, comes in and conquers Persia. He does not live very long. He's only 20-ish years or so, but Alexander the Great in the Greek culture brings Hellenism, and Hellenism is a worldview, and it is significantly different from the Hebraic worldview. When we've been talking all for the last year and a half, we've used the terms Eastern versus Western thinking, and this is the difference. Eastern thinking is Hebraic, Western thinking is Hellenistic. Rob Link used to use the terms Hebraic and Hellenistic, and so it's Eastern and Western. This is that shift. So Western thinking is coming into it, and there are some primary differences. Western thinking does not look to necessarily conquer by brute force, but would rather do what we started to see the Persians doing, and that is to influence. And so what the Greeks knew, what Alexander the Great knew, is if I can bring you Hellenism, if I can get Hellenism into your DNA, even slightly, it will take hold and it will transform the entire world. And so his purpose was to spread Hellenism to the ends of the earth.
Yep.
So what is the primary worldview difference in Hellenism versus in Eastern and Western, Hellenistic, Hebraic? What came on the scene in Hellenism that wasn't there before?
So Hellenism had this shift in what life was centered around. So before Hellenism, life was centered around God and worship of God and serving God. And when Hellenism comes in, it starts to shift that center to me. So God is there to help me. I'm not necessarily here to serve God. And so it becomes a very pleasure-driven culture and society. And it starts to create gods in our image instead of as we believe that God has created us in his image. And so it's this subtle shift that sneaks in there and begins to change.
And it's important,
everything.
As we're unpacking this and the people groups, I'm believing that you're going to be like, wait a minute, you should start to smack of this is us.
Yep.
This is our culture. This is
absolutely.
we are Greek thinking. We are Hellenistic. We are Western in all full through and through.
Right.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We just need to know that it's a lens that we view through.
Mm-hmm.
So as you were talking about, the thought to this point is God is the center of the world. God's purposes and plans and movement throughout time and space and throughout all of humanity, that was central. And how we unite and how we join in that larger narrative. And what happens in Hellenism is it becomes about my life. and my pursuit and my goals and my dreams. And the deities are there to support and help and move that along. But it's more about what role I play. And then God is there to help or not, and however that goes. And so Rome was definitely about that.
Yeah.
So Hellenism starts to spread. So Alexander the Great comes in, conquers Persia, and now actually has the largest empire that the world has known, because he takes the Persian Empire, which was Ethiopia to India, and now it's a skosh bigger because it's Greece to India. And so largest now empire that the world has seen and known, and is shifting a worldview that's different. He only lives about 20 years, went, I think, in a campaign to go fight in Egypt and got gangrene, I believe, and died, or maybe that's a different person, but I know it was only 20 years. So what he leaves, though, are what are known as the Seleucids. And the Seleucids are these Greek city-state kings, and they're somewhere in the north around Syria. And so they're based out of Syria. These Greek leaning, and it's an amalgamation. So they're Eastern, they're Northern people from Judea. And essentially, these Seleucids break into two factions. And there's the Seleucids in the north, based out of Syria. And I believe Antiochus is the primary guy there. And then there's Ptolemy in Egypt, in the south. And so I believe it's Antiochus, the Seleucid king ruler in the north, and then Ptolemy, the Greek Egyptian ruler in the south. And they both kind of trade over who has control over Judea at the time. And so it's heavily influential in that time. There's only a short period of time that the Jewish people are not under the occupation of Persia, then of Rome, then of the Seleucids, then of Ptolemy, then back to the Seleucid, whatever, I think it's Antiochus. And then there's a short window of time. And then Rome comes in and defeats Greece, or defeats these Greek Seleucid kings, and takes over the entire area. I don't remember the date when that is, but that's essentially the flow of how it happens. Now, Rome is fully committed to Hellenism in the same way. And Rome actually has this way of moving and operating. So now this empire is even larger. It's gotten even bigger yet. And they bring in Roman rule. And Roman rule has Pax Romana. And so their goal is Roman peace. Pax means peace. If you've ever seen it in my emails, PAX means peace. And so Roman peace. And that's the goal, even if it means peace by the sword. Yeah. And so the road system that they had, running water, medicine, hospitals, education, entertainment through the gymnasium. And so all of that, and they know that if they will give those people, if they give people those basic things, people will be absolutely very happy at Roman rule, because it's a good thing.
Notice that they're being oppressed.
Exactly. The people will gladly pay a tax and allow Caesar to move them where they want if they feel comfortable in the world that they have around them.
Yeah.
It should start to raise like warning lights on the dashboard of your life as you're starting to wonder if you're ever familiar with a system where if they just keep you happy and give you good health benefits and entertainment and public utilities and a road system that'll carry you and connect you to the rest of the world, if this is Rome, this is Roman idea. That's how that came into what we experience today.
Yeah.
We good?
I think I just wanted to emphasize this is why when we get to the New Testament, it feels so much easier for us to read, because the New Testament is written completely with Hellenistic thought and backing in cultural context. And so I know a lot of times we remark how much it feels so much harder to read the Old Testament. And as we've been going through it, we've been really emphasizing in our teaching Eastern thought. This is the way the Hebrews thought. This is how and we're all like waiting for the New Testament to come because there's going to be this relief in the reading. But that's why. It's because it's influenced. They think the way that we think.
Right. Yep. 100%. That's why it's so much easier for us to read Paul than it is for us to read Ezekiel, because Paul uses Greek argument. Paul actually argues in Greek philosophy even. And so it makes sense to us the way that he thinks. And Rome is fully established by this point. And so Rome also, though, is trying to control this area. And to bring now back to the hard part of Judea, the hard part of this little strip of land, what's actually Palestine. It's in the time this is the land known as Palestine. What makes Palestine so difficult to control is the rest of the world is very happy to submit. There's fighting and stuff, but they're very happy to submit their own personal things to Hellenism and to Pax Romana, because it makes life decent. Just pay your taxes and life is pretty chill. Worship the Roman deities and life is chill. But in Palestine, there's this group of stiff-necked people that are just tenacious. They don't do what it is we want them to do. And so this area is always this flashpoint for these empires. It's always been a challenge for the empires. So they get in with people groups. That's the way that they influence them. And we'll get into Herod, the Herodians, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Essenes, the Zealots, Samaritans.
Yep.
Is there anything else we need in Roman rule and Hellenism?
So just to be clear, like this is when Jesus comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Roman rule.
Yeah, you're fully under Rome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's when you think about, because, we're getting ready to get into Matthew, right? And Matthew collects taxes for the Romans. This is why he's so detestable with it, because there is this sincere betrayal of this group that refuses, the stiff-necked people that refuses to come and bow under Rome. Like, he is joining them. And so that's why there's this.
It's really important, too, when you come back to Caesar, Caesar's a title. And so the Roman king, Caesar, in the same way that we've seen from back in Egypt, there is this deification of kings. And so within Roman rule, Caesar he's a person, he's a king, but he's a god.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that Caesar has a gospel. Caesar has the good news, right, of Caesar Augustus. And so the term gospel actually does not come on the pages in the Bible. It actually comes 150 years before with the good news of Rome. Yeah. So it's influential even in the narrative of Scripture. What's so counterintuitive to us that we need to know when we come into it is these gospel narratives that are telling about the Son of God, that are telling about God as a human among us, sit parallel to common narratives and common written articles that are available that tell the good news of a man king, of a man God that's there. And so there's a direct tongue-in-cheek way that the gospel authors, the evangelists that write Scripture, are using a term and terminology of the day that is holding that in exact position. We've said it before, we'll say it again. It's super important to know the gospel is a political statement, because if Jesus is king, Caesar is not. Right. If Jesus is God, Caesar is not. And so just the claim alone, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is a direct defiance to the gospel of Caesar Augustus, the Son of God. And so these are, long before the gospel narratives even come in, Roman thinking has well taken place It's deeply saturated in the community.
Yeah.
It's covering across the world, and Hellenism is how it spread and continues to.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I just feel like it's interesting to think about culture and the way that it weaves into faith, and even in this instance and in our own instances. And it's helpful to know these things because you want to know why Jesus coming on the scene at this specific time was such a big deal.
And Galatians 4:4 at just the right time, in the
Right.
fullness of time,
Yeah.
right? Like, why right now? And again, as we're thinking about this Roman occupation, Hellenism, and shifting, now I'm the center of the world, and now there's naked mud wrestling that everybody goes to on Saturday nights. And I mean, Josephus talks about, it was a church historian, early first century historian, talks about a time there weren't even priests that could run the temple service because they were all watching the naked mud wrestling on Sabbath, on Shabbat. So they were deeply engaged in Roman life, in the entertainment of what it was. And so life had taken that shape as the result of it. And it asked the question, right? Like, how do we respond? How do the people of God, okay, so we're in this, right? God's going to come back. He's promised he's going to come back. We got the temple up and running. We're offering sacrifices. We're not doing everything perfect, but nobody ever has. And we're not even sure that God asked for perfection in that. And, there's grace and there's the sacrificial system. And so, but we've got enough of the components in of like, when is he going to come back? Who will he come back to? Mm-hmm. What should our response be in the meantime? How do we live in this environment and in this worldview?
Yeah.
And that's what the next video is going to tell us in terms of the different people groups that Scripture references. Okay. Is there anything else we need in this?
Don't think so.
I hope it's helpful.
Bye.